Hello, my friends. Hope you're having a happy Christmas. You'll excuse my informal attire today. Can't be bothered to dress up specially for the video, but I do have important news for my DAZ using friends. So today or yesterday actually, I saw this pop-up appear on the DAZ website. Reminder regarding 3Delight changes after December 29th. So if you use DAZ, you'll know that there are a number of different renderers, but basically there's 3Delight is the old biased renderer, and then the newer render is iRay. And iRay is much more realistic, but many of you will possibly have older content that has 3Delight textures, or if you create your own textures, you may have made 3Delight textures which are easier to use. And the important thing is that 3Delight is being discontinued on the 29th. They've got the new engine won't have that in. To be honest, I wish that they would do it with Poser as well. I guess they've both been going for a long time with the biased renderer. Biased means it's not physically accurate. It simulates the real world. It's not trying to be exactly what the real world is in terms of materials. But DAZ has been the first one to finally say, okay, we're not going to support that anymore. And you need to be aware that after that date, anything that you have that has iRay, that 3Delight textures will no longer work in the more updated version of the program. So how would you even know that it was in there? Well, here's as long as it doesn't lock in, here's an example of my content library, and I could go into here and I'd find a figure. So let's see what is there. There's a brown bear, and then possibly you'd see an iRay folder and a 3Delight folder. I couldn't find anything 3Delight now, although I've seen it millions of times. And that was really a legacy support, because 3Delight was the default renderer for DAZ for a long time, and people just kind of transitioned to that, even though it is harder to use. And obviously, if you've got scenes that have got 3Delight and so forth, then they're not going to work. If you've got plugins that use 3Delight, they're not going to work. However, DAZ actually recommends that you retain a version of this 4.2.4 version of DAZ Studio. Now, I'm not sure if you can run them both simultaneously, but I'll take you through the process of retaining it. I always recommend that you retain a copy of DAZ Studio anyway, because if they ever decide to make it fully subscription and you don't want to pay subscriptions, you're going to be sunk. So you could install a version offline and still use it. However, what we need is DAZ Install Manager. So you probably install that whenever you bought some DAZ content, but if not, just go to the top of the DAZ website, daz3d.com, and then just click on the Download Studio button, or you could click 3D Software DAZ Studio, click the download button, and there it will let you download the DAZ Install Manager. And once you've downloaded Install Manager, you'll get this. You put your account details in, and then what you need to do is you need to go up to this crankshaft cog thing in the corner, click Basic Settings. I'm only telling you what it says on the DAZ website anyway, just to make it easier. Click Package Archive, and that will open in Windows Explorer the location where the archives, that's the downloaded RAR files, or what are they, RARs or zips? Zips, or where the downloaded zip files are stored on your hard drive. And these are what DAZ uses before it unzips into something else, then and installs on your computer. Now, I don't know if there's any process that wipes these out, that erases them. But what I suggest you do is just type here in the filter bar, DAZ Studio 4.2 or DAZ Studio 4, and then you'll get DAZ Studio 4.24 or 424, and that'll either be 64-bit or 32-bit. Almost certainly going to be 64-bit, because it's not been 32-bit versions of Windows for a long time. And you're just going to copy that somewhere safe. And now, when DAZ updates itself, as I suppose it automatically does, you'll still have an old version to fall back to that will still use your old plugins. And so you won't lose everything. The same as with Poser, with oh, what was it called? The Python. When they updated Python in whatever it was, Poser 10, Poser 11, and it killed all the plugins, you could still install Poser 10 separately and have that run so that you could use all of the features that only ran with that. So anyway, it's just a good practice anyway to keep copies of your software, and just put this on another hard drive or on a memory stick, or burn it to a CD or DVD if you have one. How big is it? 744 meg, so a bit big unless you've got a high capacity CD, but you could certainly put that on a blank DVD, or you can certainly install that on a very small memory stick, and then that's there in case you ever need it. So I suggest you do it sooner rather than later, because who knows, let me just go back to their website, who knows how quickly after this release they're just going to update it and you'll never be able to access it again. Now, I'm not sure what implications that has for thing that I've just forgotten, for people who are importing from other systems. One of the great things about DAZ is that when you import from Poser or wherever else you might have models, say OBJs or whatever, it converted over into DAZ material formats, and I seem to remember that did 3Delight by default. So it'll be interesting to see what happens when the update happens. If your imported stuff will still work properly. I very much hope that DAZ will have thought of that. And one final thing, a weird thing, this is a news announcement section. So if I click on this to learn more about their alpha changes, and they're saying Geometry Sculptor is a new feature in Premiere. And that's nonsense, because if you recall, when I reviewed Premiere back about a year ago, that was already working then. So they're trying to sell you a new feature that isn't a new feature. It's a bit weird. And then a whole bunch of other stuff, which yes, I'll have to work through and see if any of it's worth mentioning to you. But selling this as a big feature when it was always there is utterly disingenuous. Anyway, get your backup while you can. It's it's 5 minutes work maximum, and that includes downloading Install Manager if you have to. And then once that's done, you'll have a backup and you'll be safe forever. If in all probability, you probably already have that zip file on your hard drive. But if you don't, then just make sure that you presumably you installed DAZ Studio using Install Manager, not manually, especially as it hasn't allowed you to manually do it for a long time. So you're almost certainly going to have that backup. But if you reformatted your hard drive, or if you somehow not managed to get that, just make sure that you download it over the next few days, because by the end of the year it will be gone. You take care, guys, and have a happy new year.